In the 1996 version of Romeo and Juliet, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes, composition plays an important role in making the movie successful. Composition is the art of arranging objects in a frame. There are actually shapes and alignments that people find pleasing, but movie composition also needs to tell a story. Although the rules of composition are the same for video and photo, movie composition is more complicated. Put simply, the aspect ratio, vertical versus horizontal dimensions, of still camera images is different from the aspect ratio of motion pictures. The rules of composition are easy to achieve for photography. However, with film, it can become quite complicated. One obvious thing that affects the composition of a movie frame is the fact that things are not only moving in it, but often your camera frame itself is moving. Even though there are multiple ways for a movie to have eye-appealing composition, there is one rule that sticks out in Romeo and Juliet, the rule of thirds. To better understand the rule of thirds, think of a tic-tac-toe game board. Divide the screen into thirds with 4 lines. Your objects of interest should fall at the intersection of 2 of these lines. Putting your main subject on one of the intersecting lines is correct. However, placing a person's eyes on one of those points is one way to create a more dramatic look or let the audience read into the actor's expressions. Actors moving through a frame have to hit their marks at exact times, and the camera operator needs to accommodate motion through the frame and motion of the frame, all while keeping the pleasing arrangement that drives the story. Throughout the movie and in these next few scenes, you can see how characters are usually placed slightly to the right or to the left, or in other words, on the intersecting lines or points. In this scene, you can see how Romeo's eyes are on the intersecting points. Putting the main subject in the middle of a shot could make the subject look a little weird or unnatural. This is why most cinematographers use the rule of thirds. In this scene, you can see how Tybalt looks a bit strange standing in the center. However, when Mercutio is standing slightly to the right, he looks a bit more natural and more appealing. Placing Mercutio's injury on one of the intersecting points draws the audience's attention to it, which is exactly what the director wants to happen. Next time you sit down to watch a movie, here's a few things to think about. Composition is the arrangement of your objects and actors in a frame that can add to your storytelling by emphasizing and de-emphasizing others. Think of a tic-tac-toe game board when analyzing a movie for the rule of thirds. Placing the character's eyes on intersecting points can create a more dramatic look and help us read into the character's emotions. Also, placing a character in the middle has an unnatural look to it. And lastly, remember, usually what the director wants the audience focused on goes on an intersecting point.